What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Octagon Jordan here to discuss the UFC 303 press conference postponement / cancellation that got dropped on us this morning. So basically, the UFC announced 3-4 days ago that they were going to do a press conference in Dublin, Ireland today, Monday, June 3rd at 12 o'clock Eastern Time to promote the International Fight Week between Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. And randomly, we had a media photo dropped on Twitter, the official UFC Twitter account, that the press conference was canceled. It was not going to go forward. There was no reason given whatsoever. I'll actually show you the picture here. I have it right here. Very vague, very strange, very random. Hey, dear UFC fans, UFC 303 press conference has been postponed at the 3 Arena. Sorry to all the fans planning on attending. When we have further information on a new date and time, we will share it. Breaking news, press conference postponed until further notice. No reason given, no information whatsoever. So it's an interesting turn of events. There's a ton of theories on MMA media right now, MMA social media. MMA Joey, Ariel Helwani put out some stuff on MMA Hour. It's a very fluid situation, a lot of theories going out there. And I'm going to give you guys why I think it was canceled. Honestly, right away, UFC not giving a reason for this tells me pretty much everything. If it was travel issues, they would have said that. Oh, hey guys, the UFC press conference has been postponed. Michael Chandler is ill. Michael Chandler's flight got delayed. Michael Chandler got in a fender bender. He wasn't able to make it to the airport. We apologize. Oh, guys, Dana White got ill. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. So that tells me that it's something kind of secretive, something kind of behind closed doors. I know there's a lot of theories out there that maybe it's Conor McGregor, his drinking, his drugs, his weird behavior. But again, Conor always drinks. He was drinking at the UFC 229 press conference with Khabib Nurmagomedov. He brought his Proper 12 on the stage and was taking shots mid-press conference. So I don't think a bender has anything to do with it. Conor McGregor recently tweeted, so we know he's not dead. We know he did not overdose on any drugs. And again, even if he's partying at the clubs, doing a bender, that's not going to prevent him from doing a press conference. He was taking shots at the press conference with Khabib. He literally brought his whiskey and was drinking it mid-press conference. Here's MMA Joey's theories on what could have happened. He's coming out of the woodwork with all sorts of different things, saying the fight's not going to happen. He's expecting big news tonight about a new announcement for UFC 303. I recently watched Morning Combat with Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell. They had discussed new main events for UFC 303, potentially Sugar Sean O'Malley, potentially Izzy and Dricus du Plessis. I am not part of that bunch that believes that the UFC 303 is going to be canceled, the main event. My opinion on this, well, I'll tell you my opinion in a second. Here's MMA Joey's theories on why. Travel delays for Dana or Chandler, not the case. Chandler was on his way to the airport. Dana already had his private jet locked and loaded. He said at the post-fight of UFC 302 that he was flying out to Dublin. He couldn't wait to get back there. So that has nothing to do with it. Conor McGregor, multi-day bender, that has nothing to do with it. He drinks all the time. He could even drink at the press conference. He drank at many press conferences in the past. He did all of the Roadhouse Media Day interviews with Jake Gyllenhaal high on coke or some sort of drugs. So drugs and alcohol is never going to prevent Conor from attending a press conference unless he physically can attend, which is not the case because he just recently tweeted. And also he theorized potentially new sexual assault charge dropping soon. Again, not the case. 96% of sexual assault charges against McGregor have been dropped, have been proven inaccurate. Money grabs from some of these women. And that's just not the case. Even when Conor was arrested for smashing that guy's phone many years back, he still fought. He still went to press conferences. When he was arrested for the Dolly situation, he still fought Khabib. John Jones hits pregnant women. John Jones gets domestic violence charges. He still fights. They move fights around. The Gustafsson 2 fight card. They change states for John Jones. Allegations, UFC doesn't care about. If he was convicted of something, sure, they would pull him from the fight. Allegations, not the case whatsoever. They do not give a fuck about allegations, especially when it comes to Conor McGregor, because like I said, 96, 97% have been dropped, things that have been said about Conor McGregor when it comes to sexual assaults. Now, obviously, if something comes out that he did R-word somebody, then absolutely pull him from the UFC, cut him from the organization, put him in jail, convict him, do whatever. But nothing of that case has happened. He's also saying there's a possibility of a positive PED test for McGregor. My best guess is a combination of substance abuse, party combinations. I disagree with this as well. Even if this was the case, if it was cocaine or party drugs, marijuana, it's out of competition. I think 2 weeks out is still out of competition, I believe. I could be wrong there. But I think if he pops for cocaine a month out, I don't think that matters. So unless he's taking steroids, which, Conor in his recent interviews, his recent videos in the club, he looks skinnier. He looks back to fight mode Conor McGregor. He doesn't look like Roadhouse Conor McGregor. So steroids, I don't think so. Cocaine, why would they cancel a press conference for cocaine? They got Nate Diaz smoking. I know it's CBD, but he's still smoking on stage. I just don't think these are realistic possibilities. Now, what I do think, and which is my theory, Octagon Jordan's theory, is Conor McGregor contract negotiations gone wrong. Now, I think they announced this fight prematurely. I don't think contracts have been signed yet. Similar to the Dustin Poirier, Benoit Saint-Denis situation. When Dustin, they had already announced the fight. They were promoting the fight. Both guys' faces were on the fight poster. And then Dustin tweets out that, hey, fight's canceled. I'm sorry, I'm not fighting. His manager talks to the UFC. They work it out. 2 hours later, he tweets out, all right, fight's back on. I think it's a similar situation here. I think there's some nuances, some little tidbits of the contract that McGregor's asking for that UFC doesn't really want to quite do. Maybe more pay-per-view points, maybe more merchandise sales, advertisement revenue, things behind the scenes. It could also be the fight additions to his contract. Maybe the money's fine. That could be the case. The money for each fight is great. Conor likes the money. But UFC wants to add more fights onto his contract, and Conor doesn't want more fights. So it could be a thing where the money is perfectly fine, but Conor does not want to add 3-4 fights onto his contract. And he's showing the UFC how serious he is about that by pulling this press conference. He told him, hey, I'm not going to the press conference, and if you guys keep pushing me and pressing me, I won't show up to the fight either. Now, Conor did recently just tweet. It's a very corporate tweet. It looks like maybe his manager typed it up. It's very vague. In consultation with the UFC, today's press conference was canceled due to a series of obstacles outside of our control, not outside of my control. So that tells me that it's not just McGregor drinking. He was too hungover. He didn't set his alarm. Our control. So that's the UFC and him. Now, again, I was thinking maybe it has to do with Dublin, Ireland's government. I know Conor's been tweeting out a lot of government things. The president, there's riots, there's protests. There's all sorts of things. So maybe they didn't want the 3 Arena being packed up. Maybe they didn't want a big group of, Dublin, Ireland people, community members to get together. Maybe the government put the kibosh on the press conference. Maybe they don't like UFC. Maybe the UFC and the 3 Arena couldn't come up with a proper price to rent it out for the night. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's a behind-the-scenes contract negotiation issue. It might not even be about money. It could be about the amount of fights. It could be about pay-per-view points. It could be about a number of different things. But I think there's a couple details that have not been ironed out yet. And Conor McGregor is doing the Dustin Poirier method of playing hardball, making it kind of public knowledge, even though it's still pretty vague right now. It's still pretty secretive. But if UFC doesn't do what Conor McGregor wants, I'm sure that he's going to release more information as time goes on, as we get closer to June 29th, UFC 303 International Fight Week. Mr. Chandler. Michael Chandler's shitting himself right now. He probably has no information. He probably got a call from Hunter during his Uber into the airport. He's got his fucking flight pass. He's got his bags packed. He's got everything he needs. He's got his passport. And then Hunter calls him and says, hey, we can't tell you the reason right now, but the press conference is off. Michael Chandler's just like, see you at the top. So Michael Chandler's in the dark. He has no clue, but my suspicions is this is Conor McGregor in the UFC negotiating. There's some things that haven't been ironed out yet. And I always thought this was too quick. It's only June 3rd. The fight's not until June 29th. I would have liked to seen this press conference 2 weeks ahead of the fight, maybe June 14th, June 15th. It came out of the blue midweek last week. We heard about this press conference. There's a lot of moving parts, and it just feels like McGregor pulled the plug on it, using it as kind of leverage against the UFC. Also, in this tweet, he says, I can't wait to put on the greatest all-time show in the Octagon. But he doesn't say at UFC 303. I would have liked to see that. Maybe hashtag 303, hashtag June 29th, hashtag Chandler, hashtag International Fight Week. He just says, I can't wait to put on the greatest all-time show in the octagon. So that's a little concerning that he doesn't mention at UFC 303 like Chandler did in his tweet. But I just think, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out in the coming weeks. I think it'll be fine. I don't think they're going to reschedule this press conference in Dublin. Obviously they'll have the traditional one, fight week, a couple days before the fight itself. But I think they just have to work out a few things with Conor McGregor. I think they prematurely scheduled this. It came out of the blue. There was too many moving parts. They can't really give us the reason for canceling it because it's, behind closed doors negotiations. It's money talk. It's personal stuff. You know how secretive UFC is with that type of stuff. And so that's my theory on it. But MMA Joey, you just got to calm down, brother. I know he's going fucking bonkers with it right now. He doesn't want to promote a fight that isn't happening. Expect big UFC 303 news tonight about it being canceled. Again, Morning Combat was talking about potential new main events for this. Is Sugar Sean O'Malley ready? Is Izzy ready if Conor McGregor does pull out of this? But I do think Conor McGregor's taking it serious. He's been posting a lot of, workout footage, training camp footage, hyping up the fight. He looks skinnier. He looks in shape. I don't know what to make of those recent club videos. They're very strange. Even Ariel Helwani himself said that it's nothing scandalous. It's nothing really, mind-blowing on Conor McGregor's side. It's no allegations. It's no accusations. It's just something behind the scenes. Ariel doesn't know much. His source isn't telling him. But he knows that it's not a big story. It's not a big, Conor McGregor crashed his car and he broke his leg. Conor McGregor's addicted to coke and popped a drug test. He knows it's none of that stuff. It's just a behind-the-scenes, hush, hush, hush sort of negotiation ploy. So, again, that's my theory on it. Paulo Costa, fuck you. I wanted to thank you guys for watching my UFC 302 post-fight review. 300-plus views. I apologize. I was a little fucked up for it. Slurring my speech a tad bit. I would have deleted it if you guys didn't like it so much. So I apologize. 99% of my content is going to come from my great studio here. Clear-minded, clear eyes, Octagon Jordan. But I wanted to get that video out there for you. Dustin Poirier inspired me with his performance, and I really wanted to get some content out there. I was in Cape May at the time, so it's really the best I could do, but I apologize for, being a little tipsy and tuned up for that, but I hope you guys liked it, and I'm going to continue to follow this story. Any updates that we see with Chandler, McGregor, Helwani, Dana, UFC, Dublin, Ireland, government, but again, I think it's just contract talk, so we'll see. Mr. Chandler, shit in your pants.